In the early hours before sunrise, a heavily guarded military transport departed from Russia's eastern port facilities under complete operational security. The column moved without external lighting, maintaining strict communications protocols as it navigated through the darkness. However, by the time morning illuminated the distant forest regions, this carefully coordinated movement had failed to reach its designated arrival point, triggering immediate concerns across multiple command centers. The incident raised fundamental questions about modern supply chain vulnerability in active conflict zones. What began as a routine transfer operation transformed into a case study demonstrating how advanced surveillance capabilities, coordinated tactical planning, and emerging technologies are fundamentally altering the nature of military logistics. Initial detection and intelligence gathering. The first indicators of unusual activity emerged through commercial space-based observation platforms. High-resolution imaging systems captured distinctive patterns at the departure facility, revealing specialized cargo containers bearing identification markers associated with Chinese military industrial exports. These markings immediately attracted analytical attention because they didn't correspond with any publicly documented bilateral military transactions, suggesting a classified transfer operation. Technical analysis of the imagery revealed additional concerning details. Thermal signatures detected around specific cargo units indicated recent activation or maintenance of powered equipment, suggesting the material had been prepared for immediate operational deployment. Further examination identified vehicle chassis profiles beneath protective coverings that matched the specifications of advanced Chinese-manufactured self-propelled artillery systems, specifically the PLZ-06 platform, recognized for its enhanced fire control systems and extended operational range. Based on the number of identified units, intelligence assessments concluded the shipment represented approximately 9 complete artillery systems, valued collectively near $80 million. Such a reinforcement package could significantly enhance Russian long-range fire capabilities in contested regions, particularly around Kharkiv, assuming successful delivery and integration. The operational security surrounding the transfer operation was exceptionally tight. Standard port illumination remained dark, heavy lifting equipment operated minimally, and personnel movements were carefully controlled. These precautions indicated Moscow's determination to maintain complete operational secrecy. However, overhead surveillance had already documented the entire loading sequence with sufficient clarity to enable detailed analysis. Strategic patience over immediate action. Ukrainian command faced a critical decision point: whether to strike immediately at the known location or adopt a more measured approach. Despite having actionable intelligence, Kiev opted for strategic patience, recognizing that premature action would reveal their intelligence capabilities while potentially scattering the threat rather than eliminating it comprehensively. This decision reflected sophisticated operational thinking. By allowing the convoy to depart and begin its journey, Ukrainian planners could develop a complete understanding of the supply route, identify optimal interdiction points, and prepare a coordinated response that would achieve maximum effect while minimizing risk to Ukrainian forces. To support this approach, intelligence services activated an advanced tracking framework designated Spectre Trail. This system integrated commercial satellite coverage with unmanned aerial surveillance, creating a layered monitoring capability that could maintain continuous observation without revealing Ukrainian awareness. Each data point refined the predicted corridor the convoy would follow toward its frontline destination, enabling planners to identify geographical choke points and terrain features that could support future operations. The decision to maintain surveillance rather than strike immediately also prevented Russian countermeasures. An early attack near the port would have prompted Moscow to reinforce security, increase aerial patrols, or modify transport routes. Instead, the convoy continued forward under the assumption that their operational security remained intact, allowing Ukrainian forces to shape the battlefield environment according to their preferred timeline. Reconnaissance and Russian response. Confirming the convoy's precise trajectory required direct observation, a mission assigned to a single reconnaissance drone deployed toward the border regions. Ukraine selected a Switchblade 300 series platform for this task due to its high-altitude capability, low acoustic signature, and ability to transmit encrypted data bursts without compromising the broader intelligence operation. Operating above 6,800 meters, the unmanned system transmitted compressed data packets at regular intervals, each update narrowing the possible routes available to the Chinese-manufactured artillery units. However, Russian air defense forces detected the drone's electronic emissions. A concealed Buk-M system engaged with a 9M3117 surface-to-air missile, destroying the reconnaissance platform almost instantaneously. Russian forces interpreted this successful interception as a significant tactical victory, believing they had eliminated Ukrainian surveillance capabilities over the convoy. However, the final moments of the drone's operation proved far more valuable than its earlier collection efforts. Immediately before destruction, the platform transmitted a critical data package containing coordinates sufficient to predict the convoy's likely path with reasonable accuracy. While these coordinates lacked the precision necessary for immediate strike operations, they defined a 19-kilometer corridor constrained by terrain features, road networks, and river crossings. This narrowed zone became the foundation for the next operational phase, as the convoy had extremely limited route alternatives within this geographical area. What appeared to be a Russian defensive success actually provided Ukrainian planners with exactly the information needed to transition from broad surveillance to focused tactical preparation, close-range preparation, and forest positioning. With the movement corridor established, Ukrainian forces shifted to direct preparation activities within the Osel forest regions, where natural cover supported concealed operations. An upgraded M113 command variant took position beneath heavy tree canopy, with crews employing thermal-absorbent camouflage mesh to minimize detection probability from Russian aerial reconnaissance platforms. Inside the vehicle, operators monitored fragmentary telemetry from the destroyed reconnaissance drone, building a detailed timeline of the convoy's expected arrival. To enhance situational awareness, the team deployed 24 Gamma-5 FPV drones along the predicted corridor. These lightweight platforms moved just above treetop level, their speed allowing rapid area coverage without sustained presence in any single location. Each drone transmitted compressed video segments that helped operators confirm internal convoy spacing and road conditions ahead. This information proved essential for identifying vulnerability points and terrain restrictions where an ambush could achieve maximum effectiveness. The operation encountered its first significant complication when a Russian Orlan-20 reconnaissance platform entered the area, broadcasting powerful electronic interference across multiple communication frequencies. The jamming disrupted Gamma-5 data transmission, temporarily degrading the video feeds displayed inside the M113. To counter this electronic attack, the crew directed one scouting drone to strike a small fuel support vehicle traveling with the convoy. The resulting explosion forced the Russian column to reduce speed and adjust formation spacing, decreasing overall velocity by approximately 30%. This enforced slowdown created a critical timing window that aligned the convoy's position with scheduled satellite observation passes that Ukraine intended to exploit. The M113 crew now possessed essential information regarding convoy spacing, timing parameters, and terrain conditions, establishing the foundation necessary for the primary strike operation. Russian counter-response and deception. Once Russian forces detected unusual drone activity along the convoy route, specialized anti-drone teams deployed with EW rifles designed to disrupt control signals at short range. These weapons successfully neutralized several Gamma-5 units within minutes, reinforcing Russian confidence that they were successfully defending against a serious Ukrainian assault. To Russian commanders, each destroyed drone represented clear evidence that they had disrupted Kiev's surveillance network and contained the threat. However, the loss of these reconnaissance platforms didn't compromise Ukraine's actual operational plan. The Gamma 5 drones were never intended to execute the decisive strike. Rather, they served to pressure the convoy, reveal Russian defensive responses, and create timing delays necessary for the subsequent ambush phase. By forcing air defense elements to engage prematurely, Ukrainian planners observed Russian response speeds and how the convoy adjusted formation under stress. These tactical adjustments provided Ukrainian operators with refined information about column structure and defensive protocols, intelligence that would prove valuable during the main assault. The destruction of the scouting drones also reinforced the deception Ukraine sought to create. Because the Gamma 5 units fell easily to Russian countermeasures, enemy commanders concluded the situation was under control and no additional threats would materialize. This false sense of security encouraged the convoy to continue movement through the narrow forest corridor without requesting additional support or modifying its route. With Russian forces convinced the danger had passed, Ukraine gained the opportunity to launch the actual strike at the optimal moment. The timing window created by earlier disruptions now aligned with key satellite passes, and ground teams prepared for the next operational phase, one involving a different class of unmanned systems designed specifically for destruction rather than reconnaissance. The precision strike window, Ukrainian forces waited for the exact moment when satellite coverage aligned with the convoy's position, as this synchronization created optimal conditions for a precision strike. When timing parameters finally matched, the M113 crew activated the main attack system from concealed positions deep within the forest. This decision marked the transition from intelligence gathering to direct action, with every operator understanding that mission success depended on utilizing this brief window without delay. The team launched 22 Thor 9 drones into the cold pre-dawn atmosphere. Each aircraft carried a shaped penetrator designed to follow thermal signatures through complex terrain. Despite weighing only approximately 2.5 kilograms, each drone's guidance system enabled it to track engines, fuel tanks, and communication vehicles with high accuracy. These platforms were purpose-built for engagement rather than surveillance. Once airborne, the drones climbed above treetop level and began executing unpredictable flight paths. Rather than flying direct routes, the Thor 9 units moved in tight spiral patterns generated by an algorithm known as Spectre Swarm, which helped them blend into the natural radar clutter of the forested environment. This pattern made the drones appear as harmless environmental movement on Russian sensor systems, preventing air defense crews from recognizing the approaching threat. For Ukrainian forces, this deception increased the probability that the drone swarm could close distance without interference, providing the time necessary for the strike wave to reach the center of the convoy formation. The forest remained silent as the swarm advanced, yet tension mounted as the drones reached attack positions above the moving vehicles. Neutralizing the aerial threat, Russia attempted to regain control by dispatching a Ka-52M attack helicopter toward the forest corridor. The gunship carried advanced sensors and anti-ground missiles capable of threatening both the M113 command vehicle and the incoming Thor 9 swarm. Departing from a forward helipad at high speed, the aircraft crossed the tree line intending to locate the source of the drone activity. Its arrival created immediate pressure on the Ukrainian crew, as a direct strike on the command vehicle would have terminated the entire operation before the main wave could engage the convoy. To counter this threat, Ukraine employed a Switchblade 600 series loitering munition held in reserve specifically for such contingencies. The weapon launched vertically from a concealed position, climbing above 14,500 feet before transitioning to glide mode. Its thermal seeker worked to identify a clear heat pattern on the gunship, but the Ka-52M's airframe emitted multiple overlapping signatures, initially complicating target selection. A brief change in the helicopter's rotor wash temporarily exposed the rear sensor cluster, allowing the loitering munition to achieve lock. The munition executed a rapid dive, striking the gunship's sensor section with sufficient force to disable its targeting capability without causing complete destruction. The impact forced the Ka-52M to withdraw, as it could no longer employ its optical systems to search for hidden vehicles or track incoming drones. With the gunship driven from the engagement zone, the airspace above the convoy briefly returned to silence, removing the last major obstacle between the Thor 9 swarm and the target column. Convoy destruction and communication collapse. The convoy reached the narrowest section of the Belgorod forest corridor precisely as the Thor 9 swarm descended. The constrained terrain left vehicles with virtually no maneuvering space. The first drone targeted the lead fuel transport due to its strong thermal signature. The shaped penetrator penetrated the tank's side plating before triggering a delayed thermal burst. The blast created a powerful pressure wave, with flames spreading across the tree line with sufficient force to blind drivers behind the initial vehicle. Within seconds, the convoy's forward element lost cohesion as vehicles braked and collided within thick smoke. A second Thor 9 struck a PLZ-06 artillery unit positioned mid-convoy, igniting stored 155mm ammunition inside the chassis. The ordnance cooked off rapidly, with side plating bending outward under extreme heat, projecting metal fragments across dozens of meters. Another drone engaged a fuel carrier toward the rear of the formation, releasing a vapor cloud that ignited almost instantaneously. The resulting thermal signature was strong enough for satellite sensors to detect in near real time. As additional drones followed thermal patterns from engines and ammunition stores, the convoy fragmented into isolated pockets of burning vehicles. The destruction reached a critical turning point when a Russian communications vehicle took a direct hit. This unit served as the relay node for the entire sector, and the drone strike disabled routing electronics inside the truck. The damage sent an electrical surge through connected systems, creating an immediate blackout across the area. Russian units along the outer perimeter suddenly lost coordination capability. The disruption lasted far longer than Russian forces anticipated, as damage affected more than just the destroyed vehicle. The electrical fault spread through nearby cables, causing additional failures in temporary support modules. Repairs proved nearly impossible under battlefield conditions. The blackout extended across approximately 70 hours, during which artillery crews waiting near Kharkiv expected reinforcement vehicles that would never arrive. Ukraine quickly recognized the communication failure's impact and moved to secure tactical gains. Forward elements on the Kharkiv line advanced cautiously, pushing an additional 3 to 4 kilometers into contested territory, while Russian defenses remained disorganized. Withdrawal and strategic implications. Ukraine concluded the operation with the same precision demonstrated throughout. The M113 command vehicle's withdrawal followed pre-selected routes covered by frost and dense branches, reducing drone detection probability. Every aspect of the exit was designed to leave nothing useful for Russian investigators. Drone units were handled with equal discipline. Thor 9 aircraft that completed their attacks returned to low-altitude orbit briefly, while remaining units employed self-termination features to destroy sensitive components, preventing Russian forces from learning about guidance systems or software that enabled the strike. By daylight, the area contained only burned vehicles, scattered debris, and heat pockets from collapsing fuel and ammunition stores. The result represented a complete loss for Russia, the entire Chinese shipment destroyed in under 10 minutes. The strike exposed a major vulnerability in the supply chain between the two countries and demonstrated how rapid drone swarms, predictive algorithms, and coordinated timing can overwhelm traditional defenses. The destruction created political reverberations extending far beyond the immediate battlefield. For Russia, The loss raised doubts about foreign support reliability and exposed weaknesses in planning and escort procedures. China faced questions about transporting high-value systems into active conflict zones, with the $80 million loss highlighting supply chain risks. The incident demonstrated to international observers how exposed foreign shipments can become under advanced surveillance and drone warfare capabilities. For Ukraine, the success strengthened its reputation for innovative tactics, showing that Kiev could disrupt logistics supporting Russian operations rather than merely targeting individual units. The convoy's destruction forced each nation to reassess future approaches. Russia may redirect future Chinese shipments toward safer routes or rely more heavily on rail transport. China could demand stronger protection for deliveries or pressure Moscow to deploy enhanced electronic warfare capabilities. Ukraine will likely expand the Spectre Trail methodology, as the operation demonstrated how predictive tracking and coordinated drone strikes can dismantle entire supply chains in minutes. This event reshaped strategic expectations on all sides, with coming months revealing whether Russia and China can adapt faster than Ukraine can replicate such operations.